Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map, stop the chatter, scream happily.
This is wonderful.
Welcome to the
But she does
Mashup.
this thing every once in a while where she ends up not eating enough food, and then she gets angry. And then there's nothing to be done about it other than either A, get as far away from her as possible, or give her some leftover spaghetti. And I feel like every married man should just carry around leftover spaghetti. And we would all see each other. They'd be like, you'd see a bump in the guy's pocket and be like, he's got some leftover spaghetti. And you'd be like, yeah, I get it. Like if we just walked around all the time with a Tupperware container of leftover spaghetti, every single guy would understand and nobody would think that was weird because we all go through this.
Is she going to be a character on Disney? Is that? And now they go to the dark side when they don't have enough food. I mean, we're going to get into that headline, but is that going to be a thing now too?
Well, she kind of, she starts off kind of like, I don't know, like a Bambi character usually, right? No, she's, but everything's all nice and wonderful. And then all of a sudden, I haven't seen her all day. And out of nowhere, she's like Ursula. And you're like, what did you have for supper?
I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything. Yeah.
I'm going to go get us some supper. I'll be right back.
That's great. Mashup 139. I feel like it's going to be a good day, too. I don't know. First mashup of the new year.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, like it's just sort of this,
full
it
of
was nice
possibilities.
to just get back into it, and it felt really comfortable. I didn't feel like I'd lost the edge, like I'd been gone away for too long. You know what I mean?
That's because we never went anywhere. We literally mash up through the holidays.
Yeah,
right?
but it wasn't this.
It's true.
It wasn't me getting up bright and early and going through everything that happened this week. Which, spoiler alert, there's a lot.
Yes, there is. Mashup 139. Good morning, everyone. If you're watching on X, which I know there's going to be a whole bunch of you, I'm looking at you. Give us a retweet. Help us break through some of the old barriers that are certainly set up. If you're on, like, share, smoke signal. Not get a rooster tattoo today. It's a smoke signal. Yeah, whatever platform you're watching on live. My apologies to Rumble. For some reason, it didn't go this morning. So there's the first blip on. We'll get it uploaded after. But if you're watching on,
you could say that we are not ready to Rumble.
Correct. If you're watching on any of the other platforms, make sure to share, like, subscribe, smoke signal, comment. We always want to know where you're listening from. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks for hopping in on a Friday morning mashup. And I just realized Jamie was texting me. So happy Airborne Friday to Jamie Sinclair and all the military boys. Jamie was texting me this morning because he's watching. And he's like, you mean 11 my time? I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Saskatchewan. We got that weird time change because they're on Central Time right now.
We really, really need to get rid of daylight savings time.
Yes, we do. All right, Twos, we got a busy week ahead of us. Busy week.
Before we get too far into it, just if you got any community events or anything like that, you can throw them out now and I'll try and find them. Or better yet, just have it cocked and ready to go. Have that in the chamber so that at the end, when we say what are the community notes, you can just spam us with them and we can tell everybody about, whatever bonspiel you're having or whatever else. But without further ado,
if you got events going on, let's do it. Coot 6.5. All right, we've been doing the stories. Everybody knows Christopher Carbert, Anthony Olenek got sentenced to 6.5 years, and so we've been bringing up different news articles of the proceedings here in good old Canada. So here, Dalton Fisher, a Regina man who allegedly manufactured and sold 3D printed firearms in 2023, has been given a 4-year prison sentence for selling printed firearms. And then the passenger in the U-Haul van that crashed after being pursued by police in the wrong way on Highway 401, killing 4 outside of Whitby back in April, has been released with time served.
Yes. And I thought this one was kind of fun and interesting. So after the whole Coots thing, and they're like, "Ooh, he had explosives. He had explosives," and there were just these tiny little pipe encased devices used to free up drill bits in downhole
that were
operations.
rusted that they found up on a box in the middle of nowhere on his farm,
Yeah,
hundreds of
and then
kilometers away from Coots. Carry on.
and then here, roughly the same thing. You've got this pipe enclosed explosive device. Mounties investigate discovery of very small pipe bomb. You're like, well, I mean, how big could that? I never really had anybody ask, but I'd be curious how big that pipe bomb, that the Coots pipe bomb was. Was it just like I don't know, a couple inches of 1-inch pipe with a couple end caps on it? Was that,
We
because
we
being much more than that.
we could probably find out real fast too.
But it's the whole idea here being that when there's this obscure pipe bomb tucked away in the mezzanine, covered in inches of dust, when you've got to go as you're discovering the evidence, it's probably not pertinent to the case. But here, okay, it's very small. It's very small. I was in the pool.
No new taxes. This is a burr and two saddle. Subject to interpretation. Guaranteed or guarantee not guaranteed. Offer void in urban, suburban, and rural locations. Wait an hour after swimming before increasing tax burden. Okay, go back to October 30th. Okay, what Tooze is talking about, quoted, there will be no new taxes or increases in personal or business taxes in this province without approval by Albertans in a referendum. Okay, that's October 30th. Fast forward. Alberta's electricity rate of last resort starts Wednesday, replacing the province's previous default rate for consumers who don't have a contract. The rate is set about 12 cents per kilowatt hour until 2027. It's meant to shield against price spikes, as the previous option fluctuated from month to month. Next, Albertans also start paying a tax on vaping products to fall in line with existing federal taxes. And earlier in the new year, Alberta plans to impose a $200 registration tax on electric vehicles.
Yeah. So your vaping products, just as an example, probably about 60% of what you pay for vaping products is taxes. So it's like basically in line or even more than what you pay for booze now, because it's in tax. See, here's the thing is that money, because of the fungibility of money, you can have all these, we're not going to do it on corporate or personal taxes. Well, guess who buys this stuff? People. So it is a personal tax. Or it is a business that pays for it. All of this stuff is either paid by a corporation or a person, and therefore they are all business or personal taxes.
Okay, Lisa Ferguson hopping in. Happy New Year, boys. Leanne Taylor, Happy New Year. And Kevin Damon. Sean pronounces things chapter 1.
See, now he put up this name of a town in Nova Scotia, and that's not even fair.
Shabubiniquati. Oh, my God. Shababiniquati, Nova Scotia. I don't know.
Shubnikati.
Shubiniquati. I don't know.
I was actually pretty good.
All right. Jim Sinclair, the man, the myth, the legend.
He finally made it live.
He figured out YouTube.
And he's not asleep right now.
Merry New Year, man.
Merry New Year, Jim.
Yes.
I got to touch base with you. It turns out I might have a family connection to the Princess Patricia's that I wasn't previously aware of. I think I got to pick your brain on it. And then March 01, happy January from Bonnyville. Bonnyville is one of the saddest places in the world to be in January. Source, I know that. I have spent many Januaries in Bonnyville.
We love you, Bonnyville. We love you. We love all different parts of this beautiful province. No room at the inn. Okay, I'm going to bring up first, okay? Here we go. This is a tweet by Allison Craig, a criminal defense lawyer. She says at least 3 jails in Southern Ontario are now moving to 4 to a cell because they're overcrowded, meaning 4 inmates are being crammed into a cell built for 2 people, 2 people on bunks, 2 sleeping on the floor. But please tell me more our catch and release system. And so that's
I'm just going to stop you. I'm going to stop you right there. 2 things can be true at the same time. Just because our jail cells are over full doesn't mean that we also have a catch and release program for offenders. Like, just because one of these things is true doesn't mean that the other one isn't also true. Because we constantly have examples of them just letting people out on bail and letting this person out and that person out. Now, that doesn't mean that some of them eventually, because they're let out on bail, eventually they've got to address the charges brought to them and possibly end up in jail afterwards. But I mean, like, seriously, if you don't want jails to be, if you don't want to be in an overcrowded jail, I have a very simple life hack that you can apply yourself. If you feel as though being in an overcrowded jail would be a bad situation for you, you could, without hardly any practice or effort beforehand, not commit fucking crimes.
Well, that's true unless you're the Coots boys or a few others. Just saying.
Shitter's full.
I also like this one here because I find this interesting. So I was told this type of politician didn't existed, and then Tucker had him on, and of course I'm talking about Bukele. El Salvador's homicides dropped to a record low. El Salvador hits historic low of 114 homicides in 2024, down from a staggering 6,656 in 2015. Like 2015, insane to insane the other way. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Dropped the murder rate to 1.9 per 100,000, making it the Western Hemisphere's safest nation.
El Salvador.
Yeah.
And all they had to do was just be like, we are going to give you very severe outcomes if you kill somebody. And then people stop doing it.
Novel idea.
Economics is how people respond to incentives. And criminals, despite the fact that academia forgets about them all the fucking time, they still respond to incentives. If there's a large demand for butter and it's super fucking expensive and your justice system doesn't do a damn thing for people who steal shit, you are presented with a series of incentives to steal fucking butter and sell it to people and then give that money to drug lords for fentanyl.
The cleansing fire of retribution. The era of Canada putting down big bets on massive new electric vehicle batteries.
No. Okay, I want you to do this in the other order.
In the other order? What's the other order?
Battery factory south of Montreal engulfed in flames. A battery recycling plant in St. Catherine, a municipality south of Montreal in the Montégerie, was engulfed in flames Saturday night. Blah, blah, blah. Hebert Boulevard. Dozens of firefighters battled in blaze. Oh, weird. An EV battery factory burned down. I wonder if anything interesting happened in the news in the week before that. Sean?
The era of Canada putting down big bets on massive new electric vehicle battery plants is coming to an end. Quoted, "It's now about consolidation," Mr. Champagne said, referring in particular to landing and advancing investments in mining and refining battery materials such as lithium, graphite, and nickel. The story went on to say they basically are not going to be going after any
subsidizing EV battery plants anymore. EV battery plants are no longer going to be subsidized. And then a week fucking later, one of them burns down. This is the other Randy all over again, Sean. This is it. Like, if I was an insurance company and you had a battery factory or an EV factory or any sort of government bailout, that cricket factory, I wouldn't insure that for $1 billion.
You're going to start to
It'd
see
be
them
like,
all burn.
oh, they were rubbing their legs together too much and it generated too much heat. And then all of a sudden, with all the nitrogen and all the poop that they poop out, it just went, and there was nothing to be done about it. And the only people who emerged from this financially unscathed were the CEO and the board of directors, who miraculously, by extreme coincidence, decided to liquidate their shares in the coming months beforehand.
Barb says, don't forget we have people in those jails that did no crime and are stuck in there. I would agree with Barb.
Absolutely.
But we also are seeing the catch and release system play out on our society. And I think we could be just a smidge tougher, which I don't even know what that looks like in a Trudeau-led world. But soon enough, we won't have that problem. That new Cybertruck is the bomb. Here's the video of it.
So Cybertruck's outside Trump Tower in Vegas. It blows up, and a bunch of, like, you can see the fireworks spreading off everywhere. It looks like, oh shoot, what was that Van Damme movie where he plays the goalie?
Oh man, Sudden Death. The part where the Jumbotron falls down onto the ice and then it explodes, but it's all just fireworks inside of it. I remember as a kid being like, this is the worst fucking special effects ever. Like, as a kid, he gets in net for isn't it? He goes in net for Tom Barrasso.
I can't remember who he goes in for, and then he does like the thing to his kid, and then his kid's like, Dad? And then, yeah, anyhow, it doesn't really matter.
The glove save.
The point is that you watch that movie as a kid, like 30 years ago, maybe it came out, and you're like, that's just fireworks. This special effects is bullshit. And then here's literally this happening, and then you get all of this random shit from the legacy media. Sean?
Well, okay. Well, I didn't even, I guess I could pull it up here. Let's see. There you go. Okay. It says breaking media headlines are misleading in the audience, suggesting the Cybertruck caught fire or exploded due to malfunction. I mean, let's just go back to the video. Folks.
So the headlines,
let's just watch the video and see this.
Like, there's a whiz bang or a red rocket and a wooza. You can tell them all, like, you can pick them all apart. And so anyway, Tesla Cybertruck catches fire outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Tesla Cybertruck reportedly catches fire. One dead after Tesla Cybertruck explodes. One dead after Cybertruck explodes. So these are all the headlines. And then this is probably the best part, though. You see, I don't know if you know this about terrorists, but a lot of them are fucking dumb. And so they got a Cybertruck to blow up outside of Trump Towers. And here's how Fox reported this.
But I also would like you to pay attention to, on that video, as you see that, it looks like the exterior of that truck is completely intact as it sits there. The fact that this was a Cybertruck really limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet, because it had most of the blast go up through the truck and out. In fact, if you look on that video, you'll see that the front glass doors at the Trump Hotel were not even broken by that blast, which they were parked directly in front of. You can see.
So, yeah. I don't know. You heard that, right?
Yes. And there's another story where it shows there was a guy standing right beside the truck and didn't die. Right? You get literally the Cybertruck. I mean,
so they've done all these videos where they've thrown rocks at it, where people have shot the fucking truck. Joe Rogan shot it with an arrow. All of this is very well known. And yet these guys are like, oh, well, we want to make a statement. And you pick the worst fucking thing to do it with, because you set off a bomb inside a Cybertruck outside of Trump Towers, and it didn't do a fucking thing to the tower. And the truck's still mostly fine. I think these guys are so fucking dumb. Tell you what, in the next year or two, you're going to see a lot of Al-Qaeda people buying fucking Hyundais.
Oh, man.
Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to point out, or a couple other things here. Gerald Butts.
Did you want Gerald Butts? You
An
want Gerald
early
Butts.
but photo of the year may have just settled. There's the Cybertruck burning outside of Trump Towers. That's Gerald Butts, whom we all know and none of us love. And then this guy here, the Cybertruck bomber. He's got a map of the guy's route from Denver to Las Vegas, and he says the Cybertruck bomber had to stop 8 times to charge his truck. No wonder he killed himself.
Gotta love social media. Clever. Very clever.
Yeah, and then Jim's right on point. We're just getting to these comments now, but hey, because of how well the truck was built, it reduced the amount of damage and maybe prevented deaths. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, you may as well have just built it, like put it in a bunker. Like, we're gonna set off a bomb in a bunker to teach these evil Americans. Fuck's sake. All right. Here.
Folks, it's no laughing matter, yet when Twos gets going, it's kind of funny. Breaking news, military unable to continue work from home. Some Canadian, this is the state of the Canadian military, Jim, because we know you love hearing about it. Some Canadian military personnel are finding it difficult to adjust to a return to office-based work and don't feel supervisors fully appreciate the benefits of hybrid employment arrangements the country's top officers have been told. Quoted, after 3 to 4 years of hybrid work arrangements, many families have structured spousal employment, childcare, after-school care, recreational activities around this model, they said to Carrigan. And for these individuals, a return to office work has introduced challenges such as lengthy commutes and a diminished work-life balance. These are people from the Canadian military.
From the Canadian military. So let's just, the military feels as though they need to work from home. If you can legitimately work from home in the Canadian military, things are bad enough that we're not writing articles about it. Although I will say, if there's one division of one country in the world, the Canadian snipers could absolutely work from home. Longest confirmed kills. Number 2 is JTF2, Canada. Numbers 6 and 7. Okay. All right. 2, 6, and 7 are Canadian.
Three of the top 10.
Were they? Yeah, 3 of the top 10. 3 of the top 7, technically.
But
2 of them are 3rd Battalion Princess Patricia's. So, hey, there you go with them again. They just anytime you're talking about who gets shit done, it's them. So there you go. So if you're not one of these guys, maybe you might have to get a little bit closer to your target. I'm just saying.
Update: speed trap camera has worst year ever. One of Toronto's most notorious speed cameras, located at Parkside Drive near High Park, has been cut down for a 3rd time and then drug into a pond. Everybody seemed pretty concerned that they drug it into a pond, but I think they're trying to make the statement of don't bring this back.
Well, I love the fact that, it's not in the article. It was in the tweet, but it's not in the article. But here, we can show this here anyway. Here's the stump. So this is the 3rd time we have talked about this speed trap camera
getting cut down.
And every single time somebody cuts it down with some sort of wireless reciprocating saw on sale at Canadian Tire, or they use one of those battery operated angle grinders and just zip it right off. I think the prices at Home Depot are pretty good on those right now. And it's a damn shame that it keeps happening to this particular speed camera located at Parkside Drive. And I hope it stops.
We really hope it stops, folks. Here, there you go, Twos.
We should have had Jim come on and talk about that. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
Jim says, hey, the soldiers would rather have the officers working from home. They get better training in without those fuckers around.
I'm
Oh,
so
well
glad
done.
Jim's figured out what time we're live. If you don't know this about Jim, folks, he's a Canadian military vet, retired from him 34 years, so he knows a few things. He's been on here before, multiple times actually,
Yep.
and of course was on our live Saskatchewan election coverage, which I don't know if we've mentioned this. Finished number 5 in the top 25 of the SMP, so that's pretty cool.
So yeah, it was the 5th biggest podcast last year, and the interesting thing is that we were so exhausted by the end of it, and yes, he was snoring live. We went back to Jim at the end of it, and he was snoring, and we just kept it on at the end. Probably the funniest moment I have ever had in doing any of this stuff. But
You couldn't
we were so exhausted by the end of it.
Wrote a better script.
Oh yeah, we were so exhausted by the end of it that we didn't check the numbers until it was like we didn't think about it until it was too late to look in on it. But the BC one had more people watching it than watched CTV, and the Saskatchewan one had more people watching it than the BC one. And so
we're pretty excited for federal election coverage.
Oh,
the live
yes.
election this year. We're going to bring you something special there. Okay. Canadian polls are garbage. Here's polling Canada. Which would you prefer? Trudeau resigns immediately after the new year, resulting in a Liberal leadership election, 46%. Trudeau calls an election immediately for February 2025, 38%. Trudeau remains PM as long as his party is able to hold power, 16%. That's an Angus Reid poll from December 30th.
This question was written by some idiot fuck in Ontario who doesn't think this through at all in any way. This is so fucking retarded. Okay. There's no context to any of this, because is this a conservative saying, I hope Trudeau, and why isn't one of the options, I hope Trudeau stays leader of the Liberal Party forever? And then the obvious question is you need to break it down by whether or not you support the Liberals. Because I don't want him to resign immediately and call a Liberal leadership election. And I feel like a lot of conservatives don't either. And it would be really telling if you really wanted to paint the picture of how Canada feels about this guy. You would say, who are the people who support the Liberal Party that want him to resign? And who are the people who don't support the Liberal Party that want him to stay on as leader of that fucking party? Because it's Sun Tzu. When your enemy's making a mistake, you do not stop or interrupt them. You let them continue with the tomfuckery. And as great as it would be to have an election, the longer we go without an election, the longer the NDP and the Liberals can keep putting this bullshit off, the further from any semblance of power, authority, or legitimacy they are going to be for a longer period of time. And as much as it sucks in the short term, long term for Canada, that's good.
So what you're saying is you hope for an October election.
Yeah. And I hope they still put it off another week to try and get the last couple people who haven't said they aren't running again to try and get their pensions.
Interesting. That's not what I expected Tews to say, folks. Interesting.
Okay. Do I want an election?
I get,
yes.
Yes,
right?
I get what you're saying, but the longer it goes, the worse they look, the more seats the Liberals lose, the more seats the NDP are going to lose, because the longer this goes on, the dumber they look, like every single day. And I just had on, the angry mortgage guy.
Yeah.
And Ron Butler. And he was talking about, like, basically the NDP are going to oust Singh because they're afraid of losing their seats because they're the one props them up. No kidding. Right? I can't believe it's taking Canadians this long.
We're going to get to that in a little bit later on. But on a lighter side,
the first time Tews has ever said anything nice about the Leafs.
I want to show this video. This is awesome. It's impressive. I like it. This is worth checking out.
Gets him underneath the visor. Oh boy. That's not... too friendly.
So Tanev just casually spitting a chiclet out as he's dripping blood. He's got a loose tooth in his mouth. He just spits it into his hand and keeps skating towards the bench. Just shrugs it off. That's
It sounded.
impressive.
I don't know if it was a tooth or it was a bridge of teeth. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're right. It's very casual. It's what we've come to expect out of hockey players, right?
But not the Leafs.
But not the Leafs. Yeah,
The Leafs and the Habs. The Leafs and the Habs. You'd expect the stretcher to come out, right?
Sorry, Leafs fans. One thing me and Twos can agree on when it comes to the NHL is probably no love for the Leafs, no loves for the Habs, no loves for the Nucks. You know, so
Yep.
I can actually agree with that.
Yeah. And no love for the I bet you got a bit of a soft spot for the Senators. But just as a principle, as a team name, I got nothing for them. Well, because Wade. I'm guessing you got to love. Well,
for Ottawa?
Yeah.
For the Senators?
Yes.
They held a special place. Yes, because Ottawa, didn't draft, traded for Wade. Wade played there, almost won a Stanley Cup. And Wade Redden is from my hometown of Helmont. Yes.
It's 19 kilometers off the border.
Correct.
Yeah.
20 kilometers off the border. Ottawa citizen indulges conspiracy theories. The rise of the 15-minute city is some form or another seems to be certain in metropolitan Ottawa. Ottawa is closer to the Holy Grail than we think.
This entire article is written by Gary Lai, who is an economist, and it's in the Ottawa Citizen, and it's just talking about how great it is and how Ottawa's moving forward to this and how there's probably going to be a few things that aren't ever going to fit within the 15-minute city framework, but they're well on their way and they're working towards it. And he's really happy about how close they are to achieving a 15-minute city. Now, for those of you paying attention for a while, this entire article is a fucking conspiracy theory. It's bullshit. It's completely made up because 15-minute cities are a crazy, far-right conspiracy tinfoil hat bullshit. And yet here we are. And if you look up the word conspiracy theory, or even just conspiracy, it doesn't show up anywhere in this article. They're just fully embracing
the 15-minute
this ridiculous notion.
The Holy Grail.
That people want to turn things into 15-minute cities. Like, can you believe the audacity of them to present the idea of 15-minute cities as something legitimate when it's been very thoroughly debunked and it is absolutely not fucking happening?
Pierre Polyev pontificates with polarizing Professor Peterson. Ooh, I'm feeling it today, folks.
Oh.
Welcome to January. Well, I don't know. Show the video, too. I mean, Pierre Polyev was on Jordan Peterson's podcast. It was an interesting interview. I was saying to Twos before we started, I was trying to get through it all before we talked today. I got 11 minutes to go. So I sat and listened to Peterson and Polyev talk. And you know, it was very, very interesting. And me and Dust were talking before I came in here, and Dust I have no time listening to politicians right now. They seem, they go on, they say things, and then, you carry on. And I agree wholeheartedly. But when this is going to be the next leader of Canada, or certainly looks like it.
Well, I don't know. I saw an NDP member of Parliament tweet a picture of him with Jagmeet Singh, and he said that Jagmeet Singh was the next Prime Minister of Canada.
Oh, yeah. Well, NDP are not a serious party, and I think I can thank.
Oh, really?
For teaching me that. Yes.
Is all saying, well, surely you wouldn't want to trigger an election during the Liberal leadership race. Excuse me, the Canadian people are not obliged. 41 million people are not obliged to wait around while this party sorts out its shit.
Well put.
Yeah. Once again, I it's an interesting interview. One of the things I found interesting, Peterson asked him, in the States, he always asks, what are you going to do in the first 100 days? He asked Polyev what he's going to do in the first, couple of months he's in power. And he says the first thing he has to do, he's beholden to axe the tax. But I was waiting for, and maybe other people heard different. I was waiting for him to say, I'm going to defund the CBC. I thought he was going to rattle off like 6 things. Axe the tax and get rid of GST on new home builds, I think or new home purchases. I think those were the 2 things that he said in the first couple months. So if you're
kind of shied away from talking about immigration, I understand.
No, they talked about immigration on there. Once again, I'm always curious what our listeners think. If they listen to it, I assume
I haven't listened to it yet. I just saw a few people commenting on it because I was too busy doing this stuff.
Yeah, so he wants to get back to the way immigration was, prior to Justin Trudeau, where it was the what does he call it, the gem of the world, or the way of the world. Everybody looked to Canada and their immigration policy. That's what he talks about getting back to. I don't know. So when they talk about,
I know that gets said a lot. I don't know if it's correct, but I know it gets said a lot.
It gets said a lot. That they
up.
did.
Oh.
I did.
Hey, welcome back.
Me? All right. Well, I don't know if am I freezing up? You freezing up? What are you talking about?
I've got my external hard drive keeps popping up, like it's just getting connected, and everything freezes up afterwards. So I don't know. I might have to just unplug it here if it keeps acting weird. Of all random things.
Okay. Rats freeing. You meant to say fleeing, yes?
Well,
Rats.
I mean, if we call Zane out,
put the question mark on the teleprompter.
If we call Zane out for it, we got to basically. It's got to get ready.
Rats freeing the sinking ship of the week. What does that mean? Freeing the shipping. Okay, fair enough. The latest.
Damn it, news.
Okay. The latest is Marco Mendicino. Of course, we remember him as the Minister of Public Safety. He was a gem. Well, here's the latest prediction on his Eglinton Lawrence. I don't know if that's saying it right. 51%. Yeah, 51% towards he's losing his riding, folks. That's what we're pointing out here.
He's got a less than 1% chance of winning his riding, and the NDP also has a less than 1% chance.
Yeah,
he's tied with the NDP for not gonna fucking happen.
You know who I'm not sad to see go? Marco Mendicino. You know the sad thing is he's gonna get pension. Yeah, that's the sad.
This is a guy who, I mean, it never got cleared up whether it was CSIS or Marco Mendicino who perjured themselves during the Emergencies Act inquiry, but one of them did because they told exact opposite things. And you'd think that if you were some sort of a judiciary and you had 2 exactly opposing, very firm testimonies, you'd be like, okay, you know what? Stop the clock here for a second. One of you guys is fucking lying. And we kind of need to know which one it is, because that's going to weigh in on the decision we make. So let's figure out which one of you 2 is perjuring yourselves. Is it the bureaucrat who works for the intelligence agency, or is it the politician who made a very controversial decision and is incentivized right now to go further down this rabbit hole in an attempt to save his ass? But we never really found out which one of them was lying. One of them.
Good riddance to him. Good riddance. Kevin said, I thought PB talking to JP was great. I don't know why I can't spit that out. Anyways,
is it hard to pronounce?
I don't know. Frick me. He said that we all have to get involved in politics, and I agreed with actually his point. He said once they're in, people have to stay involved in order to get things through that everybody wants through, and I would agree with him on that.
Oh yeah, ask Wyatt Claypool how that went with the Conservative Party.
What do you mean?
Well, they just edged him out because they had a person that they wanted. Like, oh, you guys should get involved in politics, or that wicked hot blonde chick from Ontario.
It's true. You're not wrong on that. Twos is once again. Oh man, are we starting to?
But not you. Not you.
We're gonna
kick you out.
Are we in the right timeline here? Like, did I just say Twos is right twice in a mashup? Oh man, and agreed with him on hockey. Oh, what is happening here this year?
Jumping the gun on what's about to happen next.
Goofy news. Wheel of Fortune. a lady. Do you want to show the video? Do you want to show the video?
Yep. Yep.
The Wheel of Fortune. This is pretty funny. I feel sad for her. Like this is.
I'd like to solve the puzzle. Okay. New York cheese steak.
No, sorry.
So for the people who can't see it, it's Wheel of Fortune. You can clearly make out it's New York cheese cake. Anyways, yeah, she gets caught on air. Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I don't know. It's tricky when you're. I mean, that isn't live. It's taped, but you're under the gun and in front of a camera, and sometimes you say things wrong. Like you say that Sigourney Weaver was Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman or whatever else, right? It happens. It happens.
Pentagon approved funds for Mr. Beast, Kelly Clarkson, and Guy Fieri last year to try and improve military recruitment. Who, you think Canada's military is hurting? They're trying to find different ways to get the young kids into the U.S. military.
Yeah.
It's an interesting group of people.
We got to send some freedom over to Flavortown.
CBC police search for 2 suspects after male had bike stolen while attempting to rob bank in Hamilton Mountain. You can't. So the dude shows up to a bank robbery in a bike, comes out, his bike stolen, runs away, and now the cops are searching for the stolen bike and the bank robber because they had 2. Like this is the state of Canada right now.
This is how bad things are in Canada, that you can't even run into a bank and steal it real quick without somebody stealing your getaway bike outside.
Yes.
Like the criminals are robbing each other mid-heist.
Germany's sick leave detectives are on the case as absenteeism hits records and company pocketbooks. Yes, they're hiring detectives to come find if you're actually sick.
Germans who love working. It's like the only, like, it's their favorite thing. It's basically that and not being funny. And they're ducking out of work so much that the average sick days have jumped from like 10.1 to 15.2 or something like that in the past 3 years. And
federal
tell me this guy isn't German. Just look at that guy and tell me he isn't German.
Federal prosecutors investigating former NYPD chief of department Jeffrey Madry for sexual harassment.
No, well, sexual harassment, kind of, yes. Apparently, he was trading overtime approval for sexual favors. Hey, Sean, do you think he's going to go down for this?
Yeah. Here's my favorite, okay? Do you want to finish?
Never mind.
Here's my favorite.
No.
I've been waiting to get to this headline all day. New Star Wars film to feature female Jedi who turns to the dark side at the same time every month.
Yeah, it was a Babylon Bee headline.
Now, in fairness, I went, that can't be right. That's got to be a joke. And
it was.
No, well, but it isn't.
It's the Babylon Bee.
Well, I realize it's the Babylon Bee, but like what they're talking about is they have a female character who's going to turn to the dark side once a month. Yes?
No, it's the Babylon Bee, Sean. It was a joke. I just found it to be absolutely hilarious and clever, and I put it in.
Did you
it's
read
not
the story?
Actual news.
Did you read the story?
Babylon Bee.
No, I realize that Babylon Bee did I like? Am I going crazy? Well, I'm
okay, if it was
crazy.
actually happening, it would be on Not the Beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a made-up headline to be funny.
Like got me because I'm like, this is hilarious. This is hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious. It's awesome. I just wanted to show this clip here real quick. This is well, here.
Can I say something right quick? Tell me who you're with. WDSU. Okay, and CBS.
NBC's over here on the right.
Oh, that's an unusual position.
I don't get it.
You wouldn't.
So, anyway.
Look.
That was good. And Sean is still trying to deduce what exactly the difference is between the Babylon Bee and the actual news.
No, it was clever. It was
Sean,
clever.
do we need more time? Should we just pause the clock?
Police seize 6 million worth of drugs in Ottawa. You know, I'm giving a hard time to the Wheel of Fortune, and Sean and the Babylon Bean are having fun this morning because I thought it was clever as all get up. And then I started reading the story, and I'm like, this is brilliant. And yeah, I'm like, this seems like it fits Disney. And that's what the Babylon Bee does. Okay, carrying on. Police seize 6 million worth of drugs in Ottawa, Eastern Ontario.
Yeah, the thing I really liked about this is that you have, like, look at all of this shit here. There's so much stuff. And then it actually in the middle of it, they put 250 grams of psilocybin. Out of all the stuff, there's also 250 grams of psilocybin mushrooms. But no names released. I just wanted to point out that when a woman in, I want to say Brampton, but maybe it's just because everything's always Brampton lately, when she shot her neighbor with the water gun, her name was released.
Yes.
Her name was released. But whoever the fuck they arrested with $6 million worth of drugs, name not released.
Water guns, they're a dangerous thing, twos. They're a dangerous thing. I'm glad everybody's having as much fun as I am today. I'm like, I almost feel kind of goofy. Is this what a break feels like? I don't know, twos. Like me and you haven't had a break. We had the Festivus. We but I'm like, I feel, I don't care how much I get wrong today, which is probably quite a bit. I'm having
well,
lots
you
of
know
fun
who
today.
else seems to be
I'm having
getting
lots of fun.
things wrong lately, Sean?
Ooh.
Revenue Canada.
Yeah, the tax man cometh. Although this move on capital gains taxes was announced last spring, the Libs never got around to passing the legislation making it law. Despite this proposed capital gains tax hike oh my goodness, capital gains tax hike not being law, that isn't stopping the Canada Revenue Agency, the tax man, from enforcing it. An unelected bureaucracy is going to grab the estimated extra $18 billion out of Canadian wallets this year alone without any legal backing to do so. Did I say that right? I don't know. I just butchered like
you
half
said that
the names.
exactly right. So the capital gains announcement from earlier last year never actually got passed.
Correct.
And despite that, Revenue Canada was like, fuck you, we're taking their money anyway.
Correct
Because
again.
we're Revenue Canada. Which
Correct.
is really interesting because if it went to court, the court would say, okay, well, where's the law that says you can do this?
Which it isn't there.
And then he would say, well, there isn't one. And then the judge, presumably, I don't know. I'm not really an expert in these sort of things. I don't even know what habeas corpus means, but I'm curious. I want to know, but I've wondered for so long that I feel like it's more fun for me to not know and keep wondering. But that's how much I know about law. But I feel like if you contested it, the judge would say, okay, well, there's no fucking law that says you can do this. So what you did was legal. So fuck off, Revenue Canada. He's keeping his money. Here's the other really important part of this, though. Tucked in at the bottom, which is sad because they should have led with this. Canada would bleed $40 billion in red ink this financial year, she earlier stated. Oops, now it would be $60 billion. As Hamlet would say, there's the rub. Take away the extra capital gains tax grab, and that deficit jumps to $78 billion. So that $60 billion number that we were talking about 2 weeks ago, that was a big fucking deal.
Or the $40 billion, which they said it would be, would actually be double.
Yeah. So they said, we're not, no matter what, we are not going to have more than a $40 billion deficit. And then at the end of the year, they said, surprise, cockbags, it's $62 billion. And now, because they were counting on all of this extra capital gain stuff, which never actually got passed into law, which they're planning on doing anyway. But if they can't do it, the actual deficit is $78 billion.
It's pretty wild, honestly. You know, it's also pretty wild. This, but let's. It should be EDI goes over a cliff. It should be EDI to go along with the story. DEI goes over a cliff. But here's how it reads. This is U of A here in Alberta. Okay, for many years, our efforts around equity, diversity, and inclusivity. EDI. Have you ever heard anyone call it EDI? No. The answer is no. were
grand.
aimed at advancing the university's mission as articulated by President Tory. However, the time has come for us to evolve, not just in words, but in actions that better reflect the kind of community we strive to be, continuing to build on President Tory's aspirations. This is why we're moving forward with a new framework and new language: access, community, and belonging.
I'm just going to stop you right here and just point out that this is literally a puff piece meant to soften the blow of admitting defeat. And it's written by Bill Flanagan, who is president and vice chancellor of the University of Alberta. So they're trying to get away from DEI
Yes, I
because it's
realize.
not working and
I
enrollment's
realize.
down and everybody fucking hates the universities right now. And this is them trying to just soften the blow.
I realize, but they can't even put DEI in there. They got to put EDI. You're like, you guys are morons. And investment bank Morgan Stanley said on Thursday it had decided to leave the Net Zero Banking Alliance, becoming the latest U.S. lender to quit the sector's top global climate coalition.
Yeah. Follow the money. This is the same thing with the university. Like, it's not working as a business model to just tell all of the white people that they're evil, because then white people are like, fuck it, I'm just going to become a carpenter. And then they don't go to the university and they don't spend money at the university.
Not a bad career
And then the
choice.
university doesn't make any money. And it's the same thing with Morgan Stanley, which is a big fucking deal. They just said, we're not doing this crazy climate shit that doesn't make us any money anymore. Especially since one of the battery factories burned down in fucking Montreal.
Quebec continues championship dynasty in equalization. I was curious what your headline was going to be here. Okay, here is let's zoom in on this. Okay, here, come on. Oh my goodness,
this is the Fraser Institute.
There you go. Alberta's net contribution to Ottawa more than $244 billion from 2007 to 2022 dwarfs contributions from any other province. And yeah, there's twos pointing out. Well, just look at the two ends of the graph, folk. I mean, holy Dinah.
Okay, so here's a tweet from 222 minutes on this, shit poster on Twitter. He says, congratulations to fucking Quebec on winning the equalization lottery again this year. This is truly a dynasty to be proud of. They are 1 year away from being national champion freeloaders for 7 straight decades. Take a moment to appreciate how hard they work to be this lazy. Fuck those fucking fucks. They're getting $13.6 billion this year. And I am really looking forward to...
You're happy about
I'm really looking forward to when someone says, well, technically it doesn't come directly from Alberta and Saskatchewan. It comes from the federal government. Because let's say I owe you $20, Sean. And I've got, I don't know, a buddy of mine is driving up through Lloyd. And I hand him the $20. And I say, give this to Sean. And then on his way through Lloyd, he gives you the $20. And then you call me up afterwards, hey, Twos, you owe me $20. And I say, well, didn't you get $20 from my buddy? And you would say, yeah, but I didn't get $20 from you, did I? And that's basically the argument that people have for equalization. Is that it doesn't come directly from.
Tell me how you really feel about equalization in Quebec.
I think I'm stating it fairly clearly. Do you want me to try? I could try again. Okay. All right. Okay. So I owe Sean $20.
Intersectionality of theft. A Saskatchewan fire chief is grateful for the support from the community after equipment valued at more than $20,000 was stolen from a volunteer fire hall in Pike Lake last weekend. Quoted, our jars of life was taken, our chainsaw, our Halligan, our stars landing kits, any kind of tools that we would use. They took all of those.
Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty fucking brutal. Like, who the fuck? You're stealing the life-saving equipment from a
Correct.
fucking fire hall? What
Volunteer-
in the absolute fuck is wrong with you? Like, what are you going to do with the fucking jaws of life? Who the fuck is going to want to buy them? Another fire hall is not going to touch them because they're going to be like, where the fuck did you get these? And so your only recourse, it's not like, I don't know, they've got no practical purpose outside of this exact thing, which is to fucking help people who really fucking need it in a timely fashion. It's fucking brutal. And then, oh, wait. While given the break-in is a first for the Pike Lake Fire Department, the crime marked the second time in a month that a Saskatchewan volunteer fire hall was burglarized. The first incident happened on December 16th when tools valued at roughly $3,000 were stolen from a fire hall in Vonda. Now, look, I get it. Vonda, it's just a little bit north of Saskatoon. I don't know if you've been there. It's a French-speaking town. And I think we've fucking readily established the fact that the frogs in this country love stealing from other people. But for fuck's sakes, fire halls are off limits.
You don't hate media enough. Okay. Mountie says there's a growing need to talk to kids about violent extremism. We believe that young people and minors pose the same threat as adults. It's why the RCMP and the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, along with other Five Eyes intelligence and law enforcement agencies, put out a report earlier this month warning about the rising prominence of young people who are attracted to violent ideologies. Kids as young as 12 are being drawn to a buffet of ideology, including religious fundamentalism and white supremacy. The Alliance said,
Stop right there.
Yes.
I just want to fast forward 3 paragraphs from there. 3 paragraphs after religious fundamentalism and white supremacy. It says, a year ago, RCMP charged a 15-year-old Ottawa boy for allegedly plotting a terrorist attack against Jewish people. Another young person has been charged. And then in August, they charged a youth from GTA with alleged ties to a terrorist group. Police provided no details as to what they were trying to do. Now, that guy was Muslim. We talked about him. All right. So you've got an attack against Jews an attack against Jews and a Muslim terrorist. But they say white supremacy in this. And then if you go down a couple more paragraphs, they talk about how it's neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic, anti-Muslim. So the points they bring up to make the case for this fly directly in the face of the case that they're making. This is an article that CBC wrote thinking that they were doing a good job. It's brutal. Okay, here's another one. This is Andrew Coyne.
Yes, zoom it in too. Can't see it. Can't see it.
All right. Okay. Oh, shit. Sorry. I'm zooming in the wrong one. I got to go over here. He says, what a silly point. Ian Brody says, I don't know who that is, but he says, one thing we know for sure, 20 years of the carbon tax in BC didn't stop climate change. The national pricing system didn't stop it either. And he says, what a silly point. Motherfucker, if you're listening, I need you to understand, okay? I'm going to speak very clearly. The only important point to consider when looking at the efficacy of government legislation is, did it accomplish what you were supposed to do with it? What they said they were going to do with it. When you look back 20 years later, did that thing happen as a result? Okay. And then as a secondary thing, was it the most cost-effective way to produce that result? But the first thing you look at is, did the thing they said that was going to happen actually happen or not? Okay. 50 years of the war on poverty and everybody's still broke as fuck. I would say it's not a success. We lost the war on drugs. Again, Not a great look. All right. If the carbon tax is supposed to stop climate change, does it stop climate change? Should be the only thing you're asking after 20 years of having a carbon tax. You stupid fucking fuck. And this, Jim Stanford. So the food professor gets into things a little bit with Trevor Tombay because he's calling out Trevor Tombay's assessment of the carbon tax and how it's not related to rising grocery prices. Jim Stanford, who's an economist, we've talked about this guy before. He says these comments defending the integrity of Trevor Tombay's work are bang on and important, but they're missing the bigger issue, which isn't about Trevor or others like him who are being similarly witch hunted. It's about a dangerous trend by the hard-right libs to silence anyone whose research or recommendations contradict demagoguery. It's coming from the CPC leadership, from the CPC aligned commercial media, and from their corporate backers. That cautious apolitical academics are now also targets of this new McCarthyism is a dire sign for democracy. We covered the fact that Tombay has gotten tens of thousands of dollars, I think it might even be into the hundreds, from the Liberals. Jim Stanford. Now, if you go to Jim Stanford's Wikipedia, it says in 2016, so he's, where does it say? Well, basically, his organization is, in 2016, Stanford relocated to Australia, where he is the founding director of the Center for Future Work, a nonpartisan research organization funded by the public policy think tanks, Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, and the Australian Institute. Now, if you just look up Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives funding, right at the goddamn front of it, $2.5 million from the Government of Canada, $95,000 Government of Canada, $20,000. You can look it up in grants and contributions. Here it is again, $2.5 million. Here's another one, $358,000. Another one, $98,000, $95,000, $43,000, $20,000. This guy gets all his goddamn money through a fucking shell corporation of economic think tank. It's basically like when people talk about tax avoidance and evil corporations and how they have a bunch of shell corporations so they can just move money around and never pay taxes on it. This guy is literally in a public policy, government freeloading bullshit shell corporation, and 2 Google searches show you it. And he's the one saying that the other side is the paid media? Fuck right off.
Paradoxy says, I think Tooz is my spirit animal, by the way. Trudeau math. Well, I feel like we should probably do this.
We like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind. It's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly. Yes, thank you.
And the budget will balance itself.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
Now, do you want
that jingle?
No, I don't. The only thing that's going to get sad is when he's no longer there. We're going to have to find ways to add it back into the show. Now, do you want me to talk about the 82 scandals? Do you want to talk about the Canada taking over the G7? Do you want to talk about how many days he took off? What would you like to talk about?
We're going to skip the days he took off and cover everything else.
Okay. Well, okay. A guy posted this, and it rattles off once again. You can't see that here. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a bit so people can get a better look at that. There we go. It listed off like everything in Trudeau's reign that he's done that hasn't been good for Trudeau's staggering 82 scandals and failures since 2015 is what it reads. Threatening to use military force on unarmed civilians, internet censorship bill, clean water on reserves, 2 liters of gasoline, 32% inflation, 70 plus burned churches.
That number's out of date.
That number's out of date. Carbon tax, and it just goes on and 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 on.
And I think that these are really valuable because one of the problems that I find personally anyway is that when you're talking about this stuff, there's so much fucking bullshit that you lose track of it. Like, oh yeah, that's right. He did do that too. Oh yeah, that's right. Dominic LeBlanc was convicted of conflict of interest when he was fisheries minister. I'd forgotten about that because it happens so much in the Liberal cabinet that it just becomes buzz. It's static.
And then numbers released Monday by Angus Reid shows support for Trudeau Liberals at just 16% decided and leaning voters.
So if you modeled out this map, so here's what the map looks like. If
there you go.
According to this poll. Now, interesting thing about the Angus Reid polls is that over the past year or so, they've been a little bit ahead of the curve regarding everybody else's polls. And so, while everybody's like, ooh, the Liberals are only going to have 6 seats, according to this poll, that's extreme. Consistently over the past year, everybody else has been playing catch up when it comes to Angus Reid in their projections. And they're all basically in fucking New Brunswick. So, yeah. And interesting, a couple other things in there is that this is Burnaby Central, according to this poll, which has the Conservatives at 43% and Jagmeet Singh at 37.5%. Now, when I say Jagmeet Singh, I mean literally Jagmeet Singh, according to this poll, is slated to lose his riding by a pretty decent margin. And here's Papineau. And for those of you who don't know, that is Justin Fuckface Trudeau's home riding. And he's at 17.87%. The idiot NDPs are 34.21%. And the Bloc Québécois is at 31.76%. So in Trudeau's riding, he is currently in 3rd place. So that's what's going on. And so when everybody's like, oh, well, I wonder what's going to happen. I hope he resigns. Fuck no. Let him drive this thing into the fucking ground. And so when we talk about like how important it is that Canada is in charge of the G7 now in 2025, I could think of a few things more superfluous than the G7. It's just a big fucking circle jerk. And if they're going to put Trudeau in charge of it, or if they're going to put the leader of Canada in charge of it, I want that to be Trudeau. I want this to just be plain in everybody's mind exactly how dumb and stupid this man and everything he represents and all of his ideas are. And
Hughes just wants him to be a headline on this show for 8 more months.
No, it's nothing to do with him being a headline on this show. I want him to see his mandate through right to the bitter end so that nobody else ever looks at it and says, well, but that wasn't real Trudeauism.
Oh, no, there'll be a day where people forget all about this. 110%. Happy news. Happy news. New Hampshire no longer has income tax.
Yeah,
that's pretty good news.
As of January 1st, on interest and dividends income. So, yeah. And I think that's the last income tax. So, big deal.
And then here, this one right here, breaking in Boone, North Carolina, officials have confirmed that 62 members of the Pennsylvania Amish community have completed the construction of 12 tiny homes in under 48 hours. The total cost of the project for them was over $300,000, all of which was donated by the Amish community. That's pretty cool.
So,
and of course, it's in
go ahead.
Yeah. Well, in March of 2023, Gavin Newsom promised to deliver 1,200 tiny homes at a cost of $625,000 taxpayer dollars a piece. To date, not a single tiny home has been delivered.
So, yeah, you've got FEMA and governors from progressive states promising the fucking world and not delivering. And then you got people just rolling up their sleeves and getting it done. And seriously, like when you look at how fast they could put up a barn, a tiny home's a walk in the park for these guys.
Mm-hmm. And then this was a cool experience. I mean, hopefully it happens again, but you never know. Pull it back, Sean. So I was sitting here yesterday, Tues, and I was my phone dinged at me, and I looked down, and it said Elon Musk 100%, and I was like, oh, cool. I wonder what he's tweeting about. Didn't really think anything of it. I open it. I'm like, oh my God. Sitting in the studio. I'm like, Elon Musk just retweeted me. I'm like, oh my God.
So for those of you listening along, Sean had posted a thread about Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk retweeted it and said 100%.
Correct.
So
and so I called Mel, and I'm like, you're not gonna believe this. I'm like, Elon Musk just retweeted me. She's like, oh, that's cool. What time are you home for supper? I'm like, come on.
Good woman.
Yeah, I know.
Good woman.
Anyways, that's pretty cool.
Yes. So I saw that and I put it in here. That isn't Sean pumping his tires. This is me saying, hey, good on you.
That's correct. That's correct. What do we got? Community notes? Anybody got anything on the old community notes here?
Can I get a community note? Who's got a community note? Who's got a community note? Anybody? I see one over in the back. What was that text you sent me?
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up right now. How long ago did I say? Oh, right there. Okay, so you got Saturday, February 8th, Marwayne Hall. You got comedian Sean Lacomer coming in, $75 for supper and a show. I had Sean Lacomer at my first SMP Christmas party.
Your Christmas party, yeah.
Yep, yeah, he was good. He was actually really funny. Doors open at 5, supper 6, showtime 7:30. They got a silent auction. And yeah, there's corporate tables of 8 for, I don't know, what does that say? $520. There you go. So if you're interested, text me because I could probably put you in contact with the people that you can get a hold of. But that's Marwayne, February 8th.
Just as an aside, silent auctions are the fucking worst. Everything that's awesome about an auction happens audibly. And you're like, okay, well, what if we took the concept of an auction and we took everything awesome out of it?
I like a silent auction. I'm opposite of twos. I love a good silent auction.
Brett says Elon Musk liked one of my comments once. We're basically best friends now. Nice.
That's exactly right.
I'm impressed.
That's right.
And Michelle says hockey game at the rink tonight. Well done.
May 10th, 2025, Cornerstone Forum heading to Calgary, Alberta. Martin Armstrong, we confirmed him. He's going to be live in person. Tom Luongo, Alex Craner, Chuck Prodnick, Chase Barber, Kalen Ford, Matt Ayer, Ben Perrin, Rod Giltaka, Chris Sims, Tom Bodrovics, and 222 minutes is going to be in attendance. If you needed any more, yeah, go down to, you can find it at showpass.com/cornerstone25.
There's going to be a trade show there.
Yes.
Details to be announced. If you're flying in, 222 minutes is signing up to volunteer to ferry people around as needed. So
you know what? Zane, shout out to Zane because Zane wants to pick a few people up in a couple of classic cars. I'm like, that'd be all right.
That's a way better idea. Forget everything I just said. That's a much better idea.
And I got to give a shout out to these guys, Dannery Paving. That's Jordan Scott. So shout out to Jordan and his team, where you got some cool things happen. Jordan Scott. Okay. Anyways, they're gonna be doing some work out at the new podcast studio. So shout out to Dannery. And Jim Sinclair says, "Good job, boys. You didn't put me to sleep again." Well, that's because it's the middle of the day, Jim. I hope you weren't taking a morning nap while you're listening to us. Twos, any final thoughts on 139?
Well, if it's the Jordan Scott I'm thinking of, I used to date his sister. So, hey.
What?
I don't know. It's a fairly common name.
Probably. Folks, 139 in the books. We are live here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Sorry, Saskatchewan. That'd be 11 a.m. your time. And, twos, till next week. We'll catch up to you then, folks.
Thanks a lot.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map, stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup. Welcome to the